Well, you ever have people bring up things, the food that you don't like that you know everybody loves in front of you, and you have to be like, yeah.
Sardines, love them.
Thank you for doing the show with us.
Of course, you got it,
Yeah.
man.
So our favorite thing about comedy is to hang out with comedians after the shows, whether it be a diner or whatever. So that's basically what the idea of the show is. That we just, sit
Right.
back and shoot the shit.
Just to hang, yeah.
How many spots did you have tonight?
I had 3 spots.
Cool.
I did a hosting, and then I did 2 spots.
Nice. Where were they at?
I did the hosting at the Comedy Cellar, the regular room, the early one, the 7 o'clock, and then I did there's a barbershop show over in the East Village.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, yeah.
It's a good show. They pack it.
It's all
with
young,
gorgeous, hot people.
hot chicks.
Yeah. So I did that, and it's funny. Like I feel
How
the
was
more
that?
time, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great, and I did I did jokes that work, but you bookend it, and then in the middle,
In the middle, you fuck
If you're in the
around.
middle of a barbershop, who cares? So I'm just trying to say funny shit that I'm making up.
You're just
and then
running with it.
some of it's working, and you're taking notes of it. That's why I love those spots. And he pays you. It's not much, but it can't be much anyway. It's a tiny place.
Yeah.
And then I just did the New York Comedy Club on 4th Street, and it was like they were great. They were great. But it's funny because I was thinking about I knew we were talking about this when I came over. There's a phenomenon that happens even when you're having a good set in some of these clubs. That happens is if you get high enough laughs, like if they're like really good crowd, and then everybody's laughing, for some reason, some people in the audience think of that as a shelter to talk under the laughs. So when they hear the noise, they think of it as a wall. We're not going to get caught for talking, or whatever they're laughing about. They're like, oh, that's like when Billy did this, but they're talking about it underneath the
Under
it
the
almost becomes
umbrella.
a shelter, the umbrella of the laughs. But then when it dissipates, they don't stop, so you hear
So
it.
you
and
hear
you're like,
the tail end of it.
and then, but this
Gotcha.
crowd was so good that some of them were like shushing the others, and I'm like,
really?
yeah, you're right. I wasn't gonna mention it, but shut up.
I
Like,
love that.
But they were so good that you were like, you don't want to do that weird thing where you're like, what the fuck?
If you break the line and you're like, yeah, will you shut the fuck up? They're like,
yeah,
then the whole
exactly.
crowd can be like, this
Exactly.
guy's
Yeah,
a
they
lunatic.
tighten up on you.
Yeah. And they were they're good. They were good, really good crowd. So that was my last one, and then I walked over here, which is a good walk, 4th Street to 24.
Oh, love that walk.
Yeah,
I
it's
love that
nice.
walk. Anything from the Village, like up into Gramercy, especially on a nice night.
Yeah, I love it.
Feels great out there.
I think one of the best parts, like, because there's times I don't know about you guys, I get so burnt out because I'm from here, and I've never lived anywhere else. If I wasn't doing this, I'd be out of New York. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
So,
I think about that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, why do people live here that aren't pursuing something
It's
greater?
usually family reasons, I think. 'Cause
Yeah,
they
makes
grew up
sense.
here and stuff, or so much love the way the city is.
Yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like, it's expensive, I get burnt out. But the one saving grace is the idea of like when you walk 20 blocks and you're by yourself.
It's a nice night.
Yeah.
Maybe throw the headphones in, and you catch a couple of good songs,
Yeah.
a couple of good lights the right
Yeah.
way up to your next spot or something.
You're in a movie in your
Oh,
head.
you're in a movie. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
The best is right after it rains when all the streets are wet, but it's not raining anymore. That's when you feel like you're like fucking Scorsese's around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feels good.
Yeah. It's such a cool feeling. So I'm like, that's like the saving grace. And I think that's like the whole idea, the fun idea of one of the fun parts of our job is like, oh, it's the walk from spot to spot, or it's the like going and knowing you're hanging out, or ones that you're like a spot that you're anticipating in a good way. You know what I'm saying?
You're
Like
looking forward to. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, of course.
There's a lot of times on the road, you do road stuff that you're like, that's the work part.
That's that's the accounting meeting or whatever. Like that's
Yeah.
like, you're like, I have to go do this for like it's strictly a paycheck. You're by yourself. You're sitting in a hotel room. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Am I doing here? Yeah.
The amount of times like I worked some of the funny ones, and they're good clubs, but like there's a work element in them. And I was dying to get into them, and then when I started doing a couple of them, I don't do a ton of them, but I did a couple of them, and I was like, oh, this is like the really work
This is
part.
work.
Yeah.
Work. Yeah.
I'm like,
It's not-
why was
they're not
I
always
dying
a
to do
blast.
this? You know?
Yeah. Dude, you ever like look back? I remember like when I like really started in New York. I'm like, oh, if I could just do this, and then I'm like looking back. I'm like, that was my goal at that time was to like.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't end. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah,
it just keeps
keeps
going.
moving.
You keep pushing it because oh, this way I'll be
good.
good if I get this. I'll be good if I get this. I'll be good, and then you realize it's like it's a non-stop. I think even if you get to the level of like big name famous guys, they still have it in them. Like, gotta stay relevant. Gotta do this.
Of course. Well, it's
have
like,
a movie, have a TV, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So it's a non-stop chase. But then the part of cheating life is like, we do this in a job, so it's like you're working if you're working 15 minutes a night, it's like it's pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah.
It's not bad.
Especially like when it sucks. It sucks if you bomb. But like it's all, like we do have the best job in the sense of like Yeah, it still sucks. Like, I get to go to this place, I fly to this place, do this, and you're like, that's the worst part of your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, this is ultimate. This is our job. We're hanging out, having a beer, talking, about, you know. And it's like,
exactly.
It's like, so it's not like in perspective. You're like, oh, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad at all. In perspective, yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But it puts you on the outside. It makes you an observer of regular life more than
100%.
Yeah, and then, but the more the more we do it, the more that you. Like I've even said on stage recently, I become weirder from doing this. I become a weirder person.
Yeah,
I definitely don't like. The more I go into this, the less I like regular people. Like just
same here.
100%.
Yeah. You
just
get like
you
that.
suck.
And you have less and less. I think it's age. I think age does it for me a little bit. I think when you're age and then you get to a certain point, where you're like, I don't have to put up with what I don't want to put up with.
Sure.
But also, you're right. I think with being in comedy and just, it's almost like you get a formula into like, you know how it's going to go. You know how these interactions go, and you get to see terrible interactions because people want to interact with you the same BS way. Like they want to say the same things to you, thinking they're being original saying.
Yeah, you see the
better be funny.
Yeah.
Don't bomb.
I want to tell everybody that says when they're walking into a comedy show, like, oh, you want a comedian? Yeah. You better be funny.
Yeah.
It's like, you're so unfunny, you have no idea.
Yeah.
I've heard that. You think you're being funny, and you're so far off the mark
unfunny
that, like, every, accountant, every fucking lawyer, every guy who ever goes to a comedy show makes that same joke.
Same exact joke.
Yeah, it's like you're not breaking any ground.
You are absolutely right. Like that's the thing where some people will say like weird backhanded quasi compliments, and then you're like, you won't do this. You'd probably rather die than do this. So that's the difference between me and you. I do it, and that's where the hard work comes into this. Because for a long time, I'd be like, it's not hard work. It's just goofing off, and then we're figuring out something that you're proud you're doing it. But when you get into it for a while, especially the first 5 years, after a while, you're like, why am I doing this? Mm-hmm. But after a while, when you look back, you're like, oh, that's what the hard work was. It's the sticking with the stick-to-itiveness. It's sticking with it.
It's the
grind of it.
Cornier word, the grind of it. It's like, just showing up and doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. That's the hardest part.
And I used to placate those people, and I'd be like, oh, okay. They'd be like, better be funny. You're okay. You did this. And I'd be like, okay.
The thing that I've learned so much about the city and the approach, because we both started in Philly and then moved up here.
Right.
And the approach, the things I've learned about this city from doing comedy are bizarre. Like, most people don't. Like, where to shave if you have to. Like, what fucking Chipotle has a good bathroom? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you have a go-to?
It's almost like a hobo lesson.
It is, man. It is. Dude, where's a good place to take a nap? Which part? You don't want to go to Washington Square? The squirrels will get you.
Because you get into a routine where it's like, other people, they come here and they're trying to do New York City for like glamorous New York City. We're doing like the underbelly of the when everybody else is enjoying the city for what it has to offer, we're working at that time.
And I think, but like, it's so funny to me, and it's just a perspective thing because, like, we're comedians and we love comedy, but it's like, when I'm going, like, if I'm running late for a spot, like from spot to spot, and you're like waiting for the train, you're like, this train's gotta hit, I gotta get to this.
Yeah,
it's gotta be coming in 3 minutes. If it's not there in 3 minutes, I'm fucked. Like, nothing else in my. Nobody else in New York matters to me. I'm like, New York exists for comedy in my eye. Like, I'm like, you're all irrelevant, as shitty as that sounds, but I'm like, I don't care what you're doing or where. And then some of them might be like, oh, I got to go do surgery or something. And in my head, I'm like, get out of the way, buddy. I got to go tell jokes on 24th Street.
You think you have the nuclear football? Like,
I got a spot in the barbershop. Let me get out of the way.
I got the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. So it's like,
that's how I feel though. Like, it's like the most important thing to me.
But it kind of is special in its own way because you have so many people that are like, oh my God, I would not do it. You do it
of
so
course,
good.
Of course.
So you kind of have this responsibility to do it, and you do love it. That's why you keep doing it. That's why if we stop for a couple days straight, we feel weird stopping.
Dude, the anxiety is crazy.
But when it comes, now I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I used to just be like a ball of, okay, as long as you liked it, okay, whatever happened. Like, I used to just, interacting with people after shows or before shows, I used to placate and just be like, whatever, okay, and yesing them to death. Now I'm like, if you make me feel uncomfortable, I'm gonna make you feel uncomfortable when I'm doing back.
I'm leaning into that more of going, hey man, I'm not carrying the burden of you being a fucking weirdo.
Especially the more confidence I have in my abilities, when I know. I'll give you an example. I had one. I did a show in Pennsylvania, and I did it.
Where at?
One of the in
yeah, up to
northern
Pennsylvania.
Like by like State College.
Sure.
Okay. I wasn't the name of the place. But I did a show there.
Vague comedy club.
Yeah. Do you know the place?
I know the place.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And I refuse to do those anymore. But yeah.
Well, right. So I did it, and afterwards, this old guy was probably like, he was white hair, and he comes over to me and the other comic, and the other comic goes, "You were good. You were pretty good." And to me, he goes, "You weren't." And I was at the problem. Yeah. And I go. And I did my job. I did well.
Sure,
and I go, I didn't, maybe I didn't light the room up. I remember, forget, but it was like a really, whatever it was, one of these charity things.
You got a fucking problem with me, old man?
Exactly. Well, I said, I go, fuck off, take off, leave.
Hit the bricks.
And he walks the elevator, and I'm like, come back, I'll fight. I didn't say that out loud, but I'm like, I have my arms, I'm like, come back. I will knock you in your head.
Yeah.
You're an adult. You should know better to do that.
Of course.
So why, if you're going to say that to me, I'll say something to you. I'll punch you right in your mouth. Come back. Because, why do we have to put up with it?
Why? Yeah.
Oh, I had a show in Virginia one time. This couple comes up to me. They saw the poster. I have a million.
This kid's a loose cat. He's beating up old guys.
I'm murder 3 people. Yeah.
Oh, there's that family that killed in Mississippi in a funny boat.
Lopping heads off. There's this couple comes up to me and they go, "You're the guy. You're the guy." Because they saw the poster. I go, "Yep, I'm the guy," which is fine. I think that didn't get me mad. And they go, "Are you funny? Are you funny? You better be funny. Are you funny?"
Yeah.
And I go, "No, I'm not."
Yeah.
And they chuckled because people say that sometimes. And I go, "I'm not kidding. I'm not funny."
Yeah.
I've been doing it a month. I have no idea what I'm doing. They went to the box office. They got their money back.
Really?
And I'm like, good. I watched them drive away. Good. Leave. I don't need you. I'm making the same money no matter what. I don't give a shit what you do.
Yeah.
You can't treat people that way. You can't. You know what it is? It's the insecurity of them.
They don't know what to do.
Well, no, not just that. I think they're not gonna. They would never do it in a million years. It's like jumping out of a plane for some people, which is like something I want to do that I don't know if I would ever do, right?
But it's so normalized for us.
For us, but that's overdoing it. So what they're doing is they're taking the power away from what you do.
Yes.
They're sitting there going, "You got to be funny. Why? What are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the put me on trial, the comedy of the comedy tribunal? Like, really, what are you really gonna do if you don't think I'm funny?" That's why you have to own the idea of like, I don't give a shit what you think. Well, I do. I want you to have a good time, but if you don't, hey, that's just another show.
We want to entertain.
We want to entertain, and we are. I mean, you do.
We love it.
And you wouldn't be there. You wouldn't be working. You wouldn't get paid if you didn't entertain in some extent. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
I get off on the fact that regular people come to let go for fucking an hour. I love that. Don't get me wrong, but when you're a fucking dickhead, it's like, buddy,
like, screw you.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: did you guys? I feel like Philly's the same way, where it's like when you started, did you have the idea? It's me versus you. I had that starting in New York.
Yeah, it's a knife fight.
Yes. And then it took me maybe a little while ago at this point, but it took me a long time to go, "Oh no, most of you are here to have a good time." But because I was like, "I'm gonna win you over. I'm gonna win this contest." Of me
it's a
making
fight.
you laugh.
It's a fight. Yeah.
And then there still can be audiences like that, but if I go into it with that positive thing,
I'm like, "Hey, let's have fun. You paid. You're here. You're drinking. They want to laugh." In our heads, and
our laughs were like, "Point me." Point me. And 1 point for me. 1 point for me.
Of
1 point.
Course.
That's where the competitiveness comes in.
Yeah, totally.
So, but I think that's a East Coast thing. I think that's a
Northeast mentality. Of course.
Yeah.
That's a Philly, Boston, New York. Yeah. Especially blue collar.
Yeah.
Just
I always feel
it's
like
a fight.
I'm losing.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody.
You're not entitled to anything.
I always feel like I'm losing, and everybody hates me, and I have to do everything in my power to win them over.
Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
Right?
Well, the idea where it's like there's this weird irrational thought of hey, they should be laughing every minute of every second of the set.
One doesn't hit. I'm ready to kill myself.
Yeah.
I've gotten better with that only recently.
You need to step away from it. Yeah.
Because then you can I feel now that I'm like, I'm okay enough with what I do that I can try again. If that one little thing didn't work, I'm fine with it.
Sure. Yeah, you can't live and die by every
set.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
You can have a diner session with 2 comedians, dead or alive. Who would it be?
Oh, a diner session with 2 comedians, dead or alive. Who would it be?
If it's not me or Foley, you have to leave.
You got to get eggs too. You got to get egg salad.
The mushiest thing on the menu.
The coldest mushy.
Oh, the grossest thing you have?
It would be Patrice O'Neal.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, good.
And I'll do an alive person.
Wait, what happened to Patrice?
He died.
Holy
Well, I 100% answered that with no irony.
Yeah, you're like, wait,
I'm out of it. Jesus.
Yeah.
Who would I want to sit there and really...
If it's him, you gotta have somebody that you're close with so you can.
Yeah, right.
You can,
Yeah.
He'll be crushing you.
You need a buffer.
And a buffer. Yeah, exactly. Maybe, you know what? Rich Voss and Patrice O'Neal. Because having them together would be perfect.
Yeah,
and Rich Voss, the more I get to know him, can I be a better guy? So that would be a great session.
That's a good one.
Exactly.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That would be just to be able to like it would have to be a hangout situation with Patrice O'Neal. I met him once because I did a St. Patty's Day show, and Brian Baldinger, who works in comedy, he was booking the club at the time. This place called Comics, it's closed now, and he got Patrice O'Neal on the show. So he figured Patrice O'Neal, Irish, whatever. It was like a joke kind of. But I was like, I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter if his name is Simmons. Just put him on the show. Russell Simmons, whatever. Rubenstein, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then I heard so many stories about him. I didn't say a word to him until Harlan, this guy who was the owner of the club, was like, "This is Sean's show," and he was like, "It's your show?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then he started talking and it was like normal.
Yeah.
But I think if I would have jumped in and kissed his ass right away, he would have just destroyed me.
Yeah. He's like the biggest shark.
I think he's the best ever to do what it's supposed to be. So as far as the way I think of stand-up, is you can't tell what is written, what is riffed, and what is crowd work.
Sure.
And he's one of those guys.
It's clean.
When Comics is open, I saw him there, and I saw one of the shows with me and my ex, and a comic I know, but I forget exactly who it was, saw both shows. The next day I said, how much was different from the first to the second show? He said 40% was different. And this is a guy who just goes. Just the insane amount of just weaving seamlessly from talk. Some lady shouted something out, you talk to the couple, an old couple, weave that right into a relationship bit, and it sounded like
you never know.
Just talking.
You don't know what's written, you don't know what's bit.
He was the best, better than anybody. Louis with it, anybody, better than anybody with it. Like making it seem there's no lines. Yeah, exactly.
Great.
So that's why I'd wanted that. That's my reason.
Awesome. Yeah.
Buddy, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Is that it?
That's it.
This is fun, man. Thank you so much.
Great hang.
Thank you, dude. Yeah, that was good. Now let's actually hang.